I just want to talk to you a little bit about the equipment you use for hot stone massage, because there are a few different types out there, and this is just to give you an idea as to what might suit you better. We'll all have our personal preferences, but yeah, just to give you an idea of how they work, and then perhaps which you would prefer to work with. So here we have two of the options of what you can use. So we have the Volsini heater bag here, which I will show you a little bit more in a minute. That's my personal preference because I just find it a lot easier. And this is the hot water heater, which you'll probably know about. A bit like a slow cooker, but it's not. So they're the two options we're going to talk about. We'll start with the Volsini bag. So this one is a plug-in heated bag. So we have plug, which also has a car adapter as well. So I'm just going to plug that in and show you how to set it up. So this, if you're mobile particularly, this would be really, really useful, particularly as you can plug it into your car too. So we have a little control system here, and once we've switched it on, all we need to do is then press the button on, and it will show you what the current temperature is in the bag. So we want to set the temperature to about 55 or 60. So I tend to put it at 55. So that is the temperature that it's set to go up to. And then it will come back to its original temperature. So at the moment it's now just heating up to 34, 35. So you can keep an eye on the temperature on here, which is quite useful. So that can just be popped back in there. And then the stones themselves, you basically just lay them out. So you've got a heated pad underneath and a heated pad on top. So the more you can spread them out and lay them out thinner, and then close the lid, the quicker they will heat up. So you can turn the temperature up a little bit higher initially with this one, just to start everything off and get it heated up quicker, and then turn it down. Obviously the bigger stones will take longer to heat than the smaller stones. But this is very, very easy. You can lay them out in size order if that helps you. I tend to lay them out a little bit more like this, because then all the little ones, because I've got extra ones, they can all fit in between the little holes. So the flatter they are, the better. If they're stacked on top of each other, they're less likely to get as warm. So when we start to use these stones, all we do is, once they're up to temperature, which generally doesn't take very long, you can see it's already heated up to 48. The stones still need to warm up, so they're still quite cold to the touch. But when we come to select our stones, really all we have to do is take out a stone, check the temperature, and then apply it to the person. They're already dry, and that's nice and simple. So next we have the water bath option. So this is a digital one. So that actually tells you what temperature it is. Some of them aren't digital, like the older models aren't digital, so you have to use a separate thermometer in the water to check the water temperature. So obviously checking the water temperature is really important. So I'm just going to switch that on at the wall. So this again, once you've pressed on, that tells you, similar to the Volsini bag, that tells you the current temperature, which is 32, and I've got it set on 57. So that's again sort of between 50 and 60 would be the sort of setting you're looking for. So that will tell me when that's up to temperature. So what you need to do with this one is put your stones in. So what we do is we recommend putting something like a white towel, white flannel underneath, because that makes it a lot easier to actually see your stones and select the ones you want to use. If it's dark on a dark background, it makes it much more difficult, especially if you've got low lighting in the room as well. So a white flannel underneath. Put your stones in, again, how you want them. So some people like to arrange them size order, and then fill up with water. You can fill up with warm water, which obviously makes it quicker to warm everything up. It does take a little while to heat up, but I mean, they're pretty effective. So you can, obviously it will heat up quicker if you put the lid back on, so you can leave the lid on as it's heating it up. Once I'm actually in treatment, I would take the lid off and leave it, because it still keeps warm enough and it's less faff. So the difference with this, it becomes a little bit more complicated with a hot water bath compared to the Vulsini bag. So first of all, don't dip your hands in hot water. First of all, it's not good for your hands, and secondly, it's not hygienic. So there are two options. So some people use tongs, so you can fish out the stones you want with tongs, which it works pretty well. If you've got a decent set of tongs, that's quite a good way of doing it. And some people use, is what they usually come with, is one of these spoons, slotted spoons. So again, it's a personal preference. Some are easier than others. You know, if you've got some very big stones with a slatted spoon, it can be quite difficult, but still possible. And sometimes, you know, if the tongs aren't very good, even picking up the bigger stones can be quite hard. So it's just, you know, finding out what works for you. Now the difference with these is when we do decide to take them out, because we're picking them up with the tongs first of all, or the spoon, and because they're wet, we want to dry them off a little bit. We can't just sort of plonk them on somebody's back. It doesn't work like that. So we have to remove them from the water, and then, so you see I've got a hand towel here ready to receive the stones. So it might be that you take 2 stones out. We'll talk about this actually during the training. So actually you need to bring 2 stones out, and you can dry them off a little bit, and again kind of check the temperature as you're doing it. So it takes a little bit more, it can be a little bit less smooth, but you do get the hang of it depending on what, you know, on what you want to do. And then once they're dry, you can then of course apply them with oil to your client.